Can you muster a war cry?
It's a big joke.
It's not really, though. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's also inspiring.
My voice will completely go into this, but it's fine. It's my resistance to them. It's a God's transmission. It's a human under attack. We're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
The judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
How do you face what that could be?
I'm okay with it. I saw one of my lawyers the other day on television saying, oh, no, you don't want to do that to the president. I said, you don't beg for anything. I don't know that the public would stand it, you know. I'm not sure the public would stand for it.
If you were still DA, would you recommend jail time?
Well, I'm not going to answer that question because that's really just for Mr. Bragg to decide. If you ask me, do I think the court will impose jail in this case? As I said to you, I think yesterday, I think not, but ultimately that's Judge Merchan's decision. The president has made this a little more complicated by having been found in contempt 10 times during the court. But I think that with the proximity of the Republican convention 4 days after his sentencing, and then if he is the candidate for the Republican Party, the proximity of the election, I would be surprised that he would be sentenced to any imprisonment.
What do you think going to jail would do for Donald Trump?
That said, the court could adjourn sentencing until after the general election.
Living in a fascist state.
Over these past few weeks, in interviews and at other public appearances, Trump himself has raised the specter of violence should he lose this next election. The events of January 6th, the violence on the steps of Congress, the chaos in the halls of Congress, President Trump's initial reluctance to call his supporters off. All of that has congealed into an alternate reality. No longer a travesty to be condemned, it is an act of heroism to be celebrated.
Please run.
For the first time, the CDC says bird flu has caused respiratory symptoms in one of 3 infected dairy workers, with growing concerns about avian flu spreading. Now, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania are working on a new bird flu vaccine.
That's right. To that end, health reporter Stephanie Stahl was at the Penn Lab today for an update.
That's right, guys. Lots going on there. You know, scientists at Penn say they now have the technology to quickly make vaccines. And while the risk of getting bird flu is low, it is spreading. And that has a renewed focus on this vaccine. Scientists at the University of Pennsylvania working on a new bird flu vaccine.
It mounts a very good, or elicits a very good immune response.
Penn immunologist Scott Hensley led the study on mice and ferrets. He says with the bird flu now spreading from cows to dairy workers, it's showing signs of mutating.
This virus is circulating very widely in birds and now in cows, and that scares me because cows are an animal that humans have a lot of contact with. What we fear is that the virus will start changing to replicate better in cows, and that some of those mutations that might occur during that process might facilitate better replication in humans.
Could this turn into another COVID?
Oh, I hope not. But we never really know when a virus is going to make that jump from other animals into humans.
Currently, the CDC says the threat to humans is low, but there is high interest in the vaccine that, in addition to people, might also be used in poultry or dairy cows. This new vaccine is following the same pipeline that led to the quick development of the COVID vaccine.
mRNA vaccines are such an agile platform. As soon as we see a new virus, whether it's a coronavirus or in this case a flu virus, we can very quickly design new mRNA vaccines to be specifically matched to what's circulating.
Currently, the virus is contained to workers exposed to infected cows. There's been no human-to-human transmission. But there is now the first case of a dairy worker with respiratory symptoms, which might make it easier to spread. Now, the 3 known cases are in people in Michigan and Texas. There are no indications of any people or dairy cows in our area in the Philadelphia region, the tri-state region, being infected with bird flu. But this is evolving quickly with the CDC. So, of course, we're going to continue to keep you posted on this one.
And no human-to-human transmission.
No human-to-human.
Wow.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why this vaccine, full throttle.
So important. All right, Stephanie, thank you.
More than 500 million Ticketmaster users around the world may have had their personal data stolen by hackers. The group claiming responsibility for the hack says they will sell the data to the highest bidder. Scott Peterson has more.
This is potentially the personal financial data of 560 million people around the world being affected by this hack with Ticketmaster, and a lot of people storing their personal information there with their credit card information, all potentially vulnerable to hackers and thieves out there. Now, this first came reported from Australian authorities, and they say they're working directly with Ticketmaster and with U.S. authorities as far as trying to get to the bottom of this problem and what exactly happened here. But these are the details that we do know, that there's also insult to injury, a hacker group called Shiny Hunters. They're reportedly demanding $700,000 Canadian in ransom. This is a high-profile hacking group. They're known for going against big corporations like Microsoft and AT&T, and people should be warned that if you've dealt with Ticketmaster, your name, address, phone number, partial payment information, including the last 4 digits of your credit card, the expiration date, all sensitive information potentially in the hands of hackers. The U.S. Embassy spokesperson also involved here, saying the FBI is offering assistance and they're engaging with Ticketmaster to, quote, understand the incident. And this is not the first time Ticketmaster has been hacked by thieves. This happened with Taylor Swift and her Eras tour as well, having a Cyberattack, having delayed ticket sales there. And Australia, again, was the first to report this situation, but this is a worldwide phenomena. I've got calls out as well to Ticketmaster in Canada to find out how many Canadian customers are also affected. Scott Peterson, CBC News, Toronto.
The northeast of Ukraine is being pounded by Russian missiles and bombs. This is the smoking, wasted city of Vovchansk, sitting in the firing line of the Kremlin's new offensive. But the United States has reversed its policy on the usage of its weapons. Ukraine can now fire American munitions into Russian territory in the northeast of the country as a way of slowing the assault. Since the conflict began, this has been a red line for Washington. But the nightly attacks on Kharkiv and other cities in recent weeks have changed that calculation.
Over the past few weeks, Ukraine came to us and asked for the authorization to use weapons that we're providing to defend against this aggression, including against Russian forces that are massing on the Russian side of the border and then attacking into Ukraine. That went right to the president, and as you've heard, he's approved the use of our weapons for that purpose.
President Zelensky in Sweden for a Nordic Ukrainian summit has welcomed the decision, but says the supply of Western arms needs to be faster.
From the moment of acceptance of the supplement to the moment when you can use it, half a year can pass, or even more. And it seems to me that this is the main enemy of ours, the slow supplies.
This alone will not change the course of the war. Kyiv has for many months carried out attacks in Russia, but it's not broken the Kremlin's resolve. Moscow has reacted angrily, warning the change in US policy will bring with it serious consequences.